Hello, my name is Ian Beabout, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, I thought it would be fun to take a look at a new release from Severin Films, Dario Argento's Opera. This is the brand new 4K UHD edition. It's a 5-disc collection, and also the North American UHD premiere of this film. So here's what's included. On disc 1, you have the UHD in a 2.35 director's cut, as well as the shorter censored US cut, aka Terror at the Opera. This disc also includes 3 audio commentaries, as well as a trailer. Now, I noticed that the 3 audio commentaries appear on all of the versions of the film. So no matter what version of the film you're watching, you can play the audio commentary and listen to some background information on the film. And then on disc 2, you have a standard Blu-ray, which has the same content, the 2.35 director's cut and the US cut, Terror at the Opera. This disc also includes an all-new interview with Dario Argento, the man himself, as well as the screenwriter Franco Ferrini and actress Christina Marshallak. Disc 3 is something very fascinating to me, actually, and that is the 1:8:5 aspect ratio version of the director's cut. Disc 3 also includes all new interviews with film historian Fabrizio Sporio and Alan Jones, conducting Dario Argento's Opera, archival featurette including cast and crew interviews, Q&A with Dario Argento, Franco Ferrini, and Liberto Bava at Cinema Farnese, 2006. Disc 4 is a Blu-ray, and this is essentially just an additional special features Blu-ray. This includes interviews with actors Coralina Cataldi-Tessani, Urbano Barberini, Antonello Vitali, and Daria Nicolodi, composer Claudio Simonetti, Anthony Scaramuzza, special effects artist Sergio Stilovetti, makeup artist Franco Cassini, Steadicam operator Nicola Pecorini, press agent Enrico Lucerini, and of course the 4K color correction supervisor Kareem Hussein. To me, that was one of the most interesting extras, was listening to Kareem Hussein talk about the restoration process and why there are 3 different versions of it. I think that that's really important. What he says is that the distribution company requested a 1:8:5 version because the film was shot on 35 millimeter, and I'm not a film expert by any means. I'm definitely more of a music guy, but my understanding is that they shot more of the frame than they actually needed, and then it was matted for a widescreen presentation. Now, the widescreen presentation is actually the director's preferred, but with the 1.85 aspect ratio, you actually see more of the image. Now, why that wasn't a UHD, that's I don't know, but I did pop it in and look at it, and it looks quite nice, even on Blu-ray. And then finally, I really enjoyed this final feature on disc 4, and that's the behind-the-scenes video created from archival footage. I just watched a little bit of it. You know, I'm still kind of diving into this package, but I saw behind-the-scenes footage of Dario with a pistol, presumably shooting blanks, because they were in the theater. And you see all of these ravens, or I guess they're actually crows, on the set, and they've got a camera rigged from the theater, from where the chandelier. They actually removed the chandelier and put up this camera rig that can fly around the room, and they're showing where Dario shoots the pistol, and they have a fake raven attached to some sort of apparatus that's flying around the room. And then as he fires the pistol, the fake raven flies, and then they throw out the crows to fly around the room. And I'm watching this and I'm thinking, this is absolute madness. We are going to rent out a theater to film in. We're going to remove the chandelier. We're going to add some kind of camera technology, some sort of engineering in order to sustain the camera from the top of the building and fly it around. Oh, and then we're going to have live birds and Dario Argento is going to fire a pistol. I can just imagine, going to the producers of this film and saying this and just, what? So the last disc is a soundtrack CD, which is really cool because it includes music by Brian Eno, Bill Wyman, and Claudio Simonetti. It is a really interesting and diverse soundtrack, and in many ways, it reflects a lot of stuff that was popular at the time. So I did get a chance to watch this film last night, and I had a blast with it. The transfer looks fantastic. The old Blu-ray that I had looked kind of washed out, even though it claims to have undergone a lot of color correction. It always looked a lot more washed out than the other films do. And the new restoration here really brings out the colors, and it looks more in line with what I think a classic Dario Argento film should look like. I don't know if this film was filmed in Technicolor, but it has that look, especially in the scene where our lead character is in the apartment with Daria Nicolodi, and you have really strong greens and reds, and then when the color returns to something natural, there's something slightly off about it, just slightly increased, that gives it this dreamlike look. And I don't recall getting into the look of this film quite as much as I did on the UHD, and the colors are so strong and vibrant, and it really does bring back that that Technicolor sickness that films like Suspiria and Inferno and even Phenomena had. There's no such thing as a perfect Dario Argento film. They're always uneven. The acting is always kind of so-so. Usually the scenes where the actors are just doing a normal scene are the most boring parts of the film, because the most exciting stuff and most interesting stuff is the horrible murders. I guess Argento was upset that people were covering their eyes during the gory parts of his films. So he set out to make a film about being forced to watch violent acts. This whole idea of putting the pins under the eyes to force the eyes open kind of brings back the Clockwork Orange thing, the Lodovico treatment. It also recalls like different films that are about watching and being complacent in violence, such as Rear Window, Alfred Hitchcock's film Rear Window, or Peeping Tom, the Michael Powell film from the early 60s, or even from the mid-80s, a film like David Lynch's Blue Velvet. Also, there's this theme of eyeball trauma throughout, and to me, this is like purely drawn from the surrealists, specifically Un Chien Andalou, the famous silent film, one of the first surrealist films from Salvador Dali and Louis Buñuel. This film is a semi-realistic setting. It's set in an opera house where these murders are happening, but it does have these elements of magical realism that seem to be drawn from the likes of Phenomena and Inferno. It's very dreamlike, and especially the scene where our lead actress has to crawl through the vents, the air conditioning vents, and then she comes out in another apartment. And that, honestly, it reminds me of dreams I've had. I've had dreams of finding secret passageways within my home and then coming out on the other side in a completely different realm. And I love these little details. I also love the use of like late 80s music technology where you see the graphic EQ bars, because that was always something that fascinated me as a child growing up in the early 90s. So I like its use here. The protagonist gets no breaks. Every time it seems like she finds somebody who might be able to help her, they're murdered horrifically within a few minutes. What you end up with is this woman coming across passive, like she's not taking control of any of the situations. She's codependent on others. And I like that the way that she defeats the killer is she uses his weaknesses against him, because obviously, this murderer, all he wants is to be loved. She uses that against him, and she's able to bring him down in the end. And it's through actualizing herself that she's able to be the only person in the film, the only character in the film who survives. And I kind of liked that as a message. Dario Argento's films are always a strange mixture of humor. There's always a campy element to them, but then there are elements of this film that are genuinely terrifying. Like the whole idea of being forced to watch, basically making the audience complacent in this, is something that's deeply disturbing as a viewer. I get it that Dario Argento's films aren't perfect, but they ooze with his personality, and that's why I love them. It's almost like the antidote to the AI age, where the human soul is being dripped out. I see Dario Argento's soul through every frame of celluloid, and that's something that brings me back to these films again and again and again, and why I love them. So in summary, I really dig this movie. And is it my favorite Dario Argento? I'm not sure. I think that will always be Suspiria, but it's like in my top 3, top 5. I also like that you can see echoes of this film in more recent works, such as Ty West's Maxine, which I actually just saw in the theater a couple weeks ago. Dario Argento continues to be influential and important. I think this release is a must-have for any fans of Dario Argento. I think this is the ultimate presentation of this film. And with the booklet and the multiple cuts and the extensive interviews with people involved with the production, I think if you love this sort of thing, if you love this movie, you're going to love this set. This really is for the fans, and it's done with care. It's very expensive for a film, but having sat down and watched even just a little bit of it, I haven't seen all the cuts. I haven't seen the 12 hours of extra features. But even still, I feel like I got my money's worth. And I think that that's really important. That's it for me for today. It's been real fun talking to you. Once again, my name is Ian Beabout. And don't forget that if you like this video, leave a like, which is a thumbs up. Feel free to comment on the video if you see anything specifically that you would like to react to, or if you have a question, or even if you have a recommendation for a film for me to take a look at. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more updates about physical media. Should you like to make a donation, I also included a link to my Amazon wish list in the description, which has mostly music, but a few films. I might actually go through and add a few extra films since I'm going to start talking about movies. Also, don't forget, check out my shirt. Sorry, I had to. Once again, my name's Ian Beabout, and you will see and hear from me really soon. Bye-bye.